excited. That one dude. First of all. Oh gosh, what's the actor's name? Because he's also because I, having watched grown up with Meteor Man.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
The minute this man comes on screen, I go, Golden Lords? Like
He's been a bad dude. I knew he was a bad
Golden
dude.
Lords.
And see, and I mean, I'm not even going to step too much into the villain, like the villainizing roles and then the light skin roles, and how the need to be better, to be the worst.
Oh my God.
And how that plays a part, and how that does play a part, to the point where he was conniving even during the auditions, trying to
Hello, Pod. We are wrapping up Black History Month, but we are going to continue throughout March to give our flowers to Black directors. I'm your host, Jackie McGriff, and if this is your first time listening to Representation in Cinema, welcome. We talk about the films that center Black, Brown, and Indigenous voices, as well as on the film industry itself. I am not only your host, but also the founder, director, and co-producer of Our Voices Project, a production company that is committed to sharing the stories of Black, Brown, and Indigenous peoples through visual storytelling and truth-telling. We are community-engaged filmmakers who firmly believe that you cannot share the stories and lived experiences of Black, Brown, and Indigenous peoples without being in community and in solidarity with them. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Okay, and the little bell to get notified about new episodes as they drop. If you're listening on your preferred podcast platform, make sure to hit that follow button, rate us 5 stars, and leave a comment to share your thoughts about today's episode and any other of our episodes. Tonight's episode is about the legendary movie pioneer Robert Townsend, the actor, comedian, writer, and director behind Meteor Man, The 5 Heartbeats, Hollywood Shuffle, Up and Away, B.A.P.S, The Mighty Quinn, and Little Richard. Before I get into some background about Robert Townsend, I'm going to introduce you to our amazing guest joining us. Aishat Oduola-Owoo is a Nigerian immigrant and lifelong lover of Black film and television. Growing up in a semi-strict household, family-friendly shows like The Parenthood, her introduction to the brilliance of Robert Townsend became formative touchstones. Inspired by stories of her father shared about Cooley High and the cultural legacy it held for African men migrating to America, Aishat developed a deep curiosity for Black cinematic history. Through thoughtful conversation and cultural reflection, she explores Black storytelling, legacy, and joy, one frame at a time. Welcome to our podcast, Aishat.
Thank you. Welcome. Thank you.
Legend, pioneer, icon. These aren't everyday terms that we typically throw around, but that we use, in our case, to describe a respected artist who fought for opportunities to get our stories on screen and for the next generation of Black filmmakers to take their place within the film industry. If there was ever anyone to hold such a place in our society, that person is Robert Townsend. Born and raised in the west side of Chicago in a poor neighborhood, his eyes were always glued to the TV screen. Eventually given the nickname TV Guide, he'd emulate the voices and remember the lines of the shows that air on primetime television. While he wanted to be Humphrey Bogart, John Wayne, and Ronald Colman, there was something else at the time that he noticed that he couldn't quite put a name to. Whenever there was a Black actor on screen, they were always portrayed as caricatures of themselves. Images of enslaved Africans, pimps, gangsters, and junkies constantly flashed across his screen. It wasn't until he'd seen Sidney Poitier in a film that he'd experienced watching an actor who looked like him embody dignity. Years later, he'd have the opportunity to ask Poitier as to how he got to have dignity. Poitier responded with letting him know that he only chose projects with directors and writers who saw what was happening in Hollywood and wanted to do something about it. It, of course, meant less work, but these images of Poitier would be the spark that got Townsend to New York City as a comedian and then eventually to LA as an actor. He learned how to be a director from the many times he worked on set as an extra and would audition for roles that placed him right back into those caricatures he'd seen on screen as a child. Using credit cards to fund his first film and planning with his writing partner, Keenan Ivory Wayans, These firsthand experiences gave us Hollywood Shuffle, a satirical film that addressed what it's like to be an up and coming Black actor, the inner conflict between the pressure to find work and selling out, and a critique on the types of films that Hollywood deems worthy of acclaim. For me, this is personal. Filmmakers like myself and so many others stand on the shoulders of legends like Townsend. You showed us that it was possible to become a director, that it was possible for us to be superheroes, to portray all of the beautiful and unique sides of us as the complex human beings that we are. And you also opened the doors for actors and film workers that wouldn't have been there had it not been for you. That is why, Robert Townsend, we are giving you your flowers. Thank you so much for everything. To our listeners and viewers, if you haven't already seen his films, we highly recommend that you do so. And with that, let's dive into some of these films. So, just so you know, for our listeners or viewers, we are going to be getting into some spoilers, okay? So, if you have not watched these films before listening, you have been warned. All right. So, getting into Hollywood Shuffle. Whew. So, all right, I would like to know because I definitely have some thoughts, as
Right.
always. All right, we wouldn't be here
Right.
if I didn't have them. But I want to know your initial thoughts after watching Hollywood Shuffle.
Okay. So,
Yes.
admittedly, it was my first time watching Hollywood Shuffle.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
so when I watched it, I didn't necessarily have many expectations other than I felt like it was going to be a comedy. When
Mm-hmm.
I finally watched it, I was like, oh, okay. The representation that we talked
Yes.
about early on is
Yes.
such an
Yes.
interesting thing to see how important and how conviction plays in representation and how
Mm-hmm.
every actor has that form of conviction or should have that form of conviction on how you're representing yourself and how you
Right.
represent your community and what does it, but also the desire to survive is
Mm-hmm.
is a play into the movie.
Yes.
One thing I
Yeah.
appreciate about Robert Townsend is there are
So
what
many people in
there's star studded. It was just like, where are we getting all these people from? Just people from different places of my childhood, different. And I'm just like, yes, this was
here. Yeah.
cast beautifully. This was
Cast
cast
beautifully.
amazingly. And I was just like,
He
yeah,
he
okay.
cast and he cast the same. I was noticing a trend too. He tends to cast like the same people
Yes.
in his films. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
I was like, wait, hang on, that
Right.
I he
Right.
was
A
in this.
thread.
He was also in this. Yeah.
A thread, which I love because that's how you build community within your production. You allow
Yes.
yourself to build with teams. Same, similar with the Wayans, similar with Spike Lee, similar with other
Right.
Black directors. Is we create with each other and we
Right.
give each other opportunities, which I truly appreciated with Hollywood Shuffle. Was the see actors now that have done bigger and different things and we see them
Yeah.
now and we're like, yeah, no, definitely we see the origins of their start and it's
Yes.
great to kind of even witness that. It's great to witness that.
Yeah. And also for those again who are viewing and listening, if you don't know what Hollywood Shuffle is, because of course I forgot to like say the I forgot to give y'all the synopsis. But essentially, it's about an aspiring actor and hot dog stand employee, Bobby Taylor, played by Robert Townsend, who also directs the film, of course, because this is why we're here, catches the ire of his grandmother, played by Helen Martin, for auditioning for a role in the regrettably titled exploitation film Jive Time Jimmy's Revenge. When Tinseltown Studio Yep, yes, there's so much in this film. When Tinseltown Studios casts Taylor in the title role, he has a series of conflicted dreams satirizing African American stereotypes in Hollywood and must reconcile his career goals with his desire to remain a positive role model for his little brother. So, you mentioned like early on just like talking about your initial reactions to this film about the need for survival. There is this
Yeah.
recurring theme in the film talking about survival because it's not only just him. I mean, throughout the film you're seeing a ton of Black actors, right, who are
Right.
trying to get these same roles
Right.
knowing that they're BS, right? Knowing that they're stereotypical. And yet it's like it's work. Like to them it is work. It's not one of these like it's you have these jobs that we talk about being very dead end jobs, right? There's
Right.
nowhere to go. And so like with taking on a role, yes, it's a terrible role and it's having us in stereotypical in these stereotypical like archetypes and
Scenarios again.
everything.
Yeah.
Right. But at the same time, it's also like to them, it's not necessarily a dead end because this could lead to the next thing and then the next
The
thing,
next
right?
big
Where
thing. Right.
the next big thing, and also where they may not be playing a stereotype. There's always that hope, right? That it's going
Mhm.
to be okay. If I get this role, there's going to be something bigger, right?
Right.
This is going to be something bigger that puts me into stardom. I mean, throughout, like, I love when he's pretending to win the Oscar. There's that one instance where he's like, "Oh, I've won. If this is my, I didn't expect this. This was my fifth Oscar. I'm so like,
Right. Right. A
I'm
true
so happy
visionary.
about this." Yes, right. I know. He's like, listen, no, it's not just one. It's going to be multiple.
Right.
And he's constantly imagining, having on like the suit and having like the
Mhm.
pretty women on his arms and
Yeah.
walking down the red carpet and stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's this hope, right? It's like, listen, I'm sick and tired of like working these dead end jobs.
Hmm.
I want something bigger for myself and I want something bigger for my family.
Hmm.
Um, and so there is the hope. I need to do this. It's a terrible, terrible role, but it's going to propel me to the next thing,
Right. Which is ironic.
which is ironic. And so like, well, yeah, so when you're watching this film, and I mean it's of course supposed to be a comedy, and I want to get your thoughts around though, like how, because when I was watching this film, I'm also just like, as funny as much of the film is, it's also very disturbing. It's very disturbing. I
He
wanted to get
goes
your
there.
thoughts around that
He
too. Yeah.
goes there. He goes there. I think
Yeah.
there was so many. I think when we see like exploitation movies, it was
Mhm.
like an exploitation movie within the exploitation movie doing like a spoof of what has been done before.
Right.
So we
Yeah.
have these slave tropes, we have the
Mhm.
gangster tropes, we
Mhm.
have the promiscuous black woman, the Jezebel trope,
Yes.
all
Yep.
of these tropes
Threw all of them in there.
that we've seen, and I love the breakout where he breaks the fourth wall and he's kind of like giving us a piece of what's going on in his head because he's
Mhm.
being imaginative. And
Yeah.
I think what was so wild about it was just the fact that, like, although we have these ideas of, I think it was the casting agent, the director, and I
Yes.
think of the producer, the three white people in
Yes.
there, and the whole desire for them to tell these very black actors to be more black, to blacken it up a little
You
bit. You know
blacken it
what
up.
I'm
Could you
saying?
be just a little bit more? Should you just be a little bit more black? Like,
Or the favorite
I'm
word,
sorry,
can you be more sassy?
sassy, urban. That's always the thing. Can you be more urban, please? We know what you mean. We know what you mean.
Right,
And even still, it's like this is my lived experience. I don't. It's
right.
it's crazy, and it's
Which was
like
crazy because the lived experience was actually very calm, right? When he first comes in, he's coming out of his neighborhood, beautiful
right,
neighborhood, people with
yeah,
manners, people
right,
who are real people, neighborhood people.
yeah,
There's no caricature of
right,
their blackness. It's
right,
to some extent a little boring, a little
right,
bit
right.
mundane, everyday black people just trying
We're
to
just people out
do their
here just
thing.
trying to exactly.
Right. And then you get this opportunity and you practice this with your little brother. And that's the thing that was the beginning scene of him just going over the lines with his brother. And it's just like, yeah, it's so wild. It's just like it's because your little brother is so proud of you. I'm an older sibling. I'm the oldest sibling, first grandchild, first. So
Mm.
there's a huge
Yep.
responsibility in terms of how you present yourself, and that exchange is just like, I'm proud of you for going after your dreams, but at
Yeah.
what cost? But at what cost?
At what cost? And I'm constantly thinking too about like how I'll I mean in the modern day now, like I'll
Mm-hmm.
see. these actors who I know that it's survival, right? Like this is a job that's paying, right? It's paying the bills.
Right.
But at the
Right.
same time, it's at what cost? At what cost are you playing the stereotypical role? Because now
Mm-hmm.
that's something else to add on the millions of different images, right, and footage that we have of black folks in these caricatures that folks who may not have may not be in proximity, right, with black folks think
Mm-hmm.
that this is who we
This is
are,
the
and it's
norm.
like that is the norm. And
Mhm.
I'm just going, okay, um we're still here in 2026, and we're still seeing many
Tropes.
of these roles, many of these tropes, these stereotypes. I'm like, this is not who we are. I'm like, and I have to be
Yeah.
like, who wrote this? Like,
Right.
who's behind the camera?
Right.
And so yeah, like when I'm thinking about, especially, you hit the nail right on the head. And I mean, you have been like throughout this entire thing so far. It's only been not even 15 minutes in, girl. I'm just like, yes, all of this is like him practicing these lines with his younger brother.
Yeah.
That's what hit me. Yeah, I think you hit the nail right on the head as far as like, or at least for me, on pinpointing exactly, what I found so disturbing about it is because like I'm used to seeing the tropes, right? And it being so blatant and so obvious, right? Of
Right.
course is the point, right? But
Right.
like but like his little brother like looking up to him and
Yeah.
like cheering him on and everything, but then
Yeah.
seeing him like play this role, like you kind of see like,
Live.
yes, live, and you're seeing a little bit of that innocence like just kind of being like
Hmm.
kind of like snuffed out of him. He's like,
The
this is
disappointment, even
the disappointment.
the realization, the understanding
Yes.
of, because yeah, we went over the lines, but to actually
Right.
see it,
See.
to
Yes.
see it
Yes.
is a
Yes.
different thing, because we can hear something, we can even slightly participate in something until we actually realize our participation in it. And it's,
Mm-hmm.
and I love
Mm-hmm.
the just the kind of small nuances of his grandmother, who's also an actress, right, who's
Yes.
also,
Yes.
and who's also probably propelled to play some type of mammy role in some shape or form, because those were the opportunities that was afforded. So
Yes.
understanding that, and
Mm-hmm.
like, even I that created this pathway for you didn't want you to have to walk the same walk that I
Right.
had to, for you to even be here, to even conceive the idea of doing it. And now
Okay.
you're in a position to create a new pathway, and you choose this.
Yes. Yeah, this is not what
Mm.
I set up for you. Like, this is
Mm-mm.
not the path that I
Mm-mm.
wanted you to go down. Like, you were supposed to be better. You're supposed to be better than this. Yeah, and I'm sitting there going, oh, and and it's so good that you bring that up, because I found myself going in between like the two of them and really
Yeah.
conflicted, which
Mhm.
I,
Yeah.
on the surface I would have said I definitely am the grandmother, like sitting there going, are you for real right now?
Like,
Like
what's up?
there's 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 so many other options, like what are
Right.
we doing? But like while I'm watching this and I'm seeing him like kind of like battle that, like it's a job, but this is also like this is also doing a disservice to my people, like this is
But it's also my
like,
dream.
but there's also my dream. And I'm like, if I don't take this, like, is there going to be another option for
Yeah.
me? And so, like, seeing him go through that, but then also her coming in and saying, this is not the life that I wanted for you, right? Him going
Mm-mm.
between that, I'm like, oh my God. So I'm rooting for him, but also I'm like, no, but I also don't want you to like, it shouldn't have to be this role that you take, right?
Yeah.
There has to be another option. Like, there has to be another option.
But the scary thing is, it's not always that many options. And
Yeah.
also, if you don't take it, there's someone else
Someone else.
ready to get it.
Listen, that one dude that
That
was
one.
first of all, oh gosh, what's the actor's name? Because he's also the okay. Because I, having watched growing up with Meteor Man,
Right.
okay. The
Right.
minute this man comes on screen, I go, Golden Lords. Like I
He's been a bad dude. I knew he was a
the
bad
Golden
dude.
Lord.
And see, and I mean, I'm not even going to step too much into the villain, like the villainizing roles and then the light
my
skin
God.
roles, and how the need
That part.
to be better, to be the
Oh
worst,
my
and how that plays a
gosh.
part, and how that does play a part to the point where he was conniving even during the auditions, trying to,
Like,
like, you know.
because I'm thinking, oh, we got somebody who is like, I mean, I'm like, but first of all, I'm like, yeah, all of what you're saying is very real. He's going, this is bullshit. This is bullshit.
Hmm.
And then I'm going, but you're there too, sir. So what?
Trying to
So
get the
what
same role.
exactly? I'm trying to get the same, and then of course, and then it's revealed like he's trying to get the same, and I'm like, okay, see, like, and I'm like, is he trying to like make sure that he gets into his head and like trying to get into his head,
Hmm.
and so that he has a better shot or whatever, and then of course when he, when Robert Townsend's character, when he Bobby, when he eventually decides to remove himself from that role, then this man comes in and is like, oh, I can do it, I can do it. I'm like, okay,
That's
okay,
that. That's that Chuck and Jive.
that's that Chuck and
That's that
Jive.
Chuck and
Yes.
Jive. That's that I'm willing, and that's the moral thing about it. That
Yeah.
moral idea is that just because you come to a realization that this may not be good doesn't mean that someone is not willing to jump into the place of being deplorable. There's
Yes.
always someone
That part.
willing. There's always someone willing to come in and take that spot, especially if it gives them notoriety, especially if it pushes them to the next step, the next thing, even at the demise
Hmm.
of the group,
Yes.
And so it's always so interesting to see just like how competitive it is to be evil, to be
Yes.
grimy.
Yes. And that's the thing. It's about this industry, and he like
Hmm.
Townsend does. I mean,
Yeah.
what an incredible talent to like bring all of that to the
Hmm.
surface, right? Like I'm like reflecting on, how, and it's a satire. Like
Yeah.
so everything is going to be over the top and ridiculous, but then I'm like, is it really over the top? Is it really that ridiculous? Right? Like, yeah, I'm constantly reflecting on um just again how we're constantly seeing these tropes that are played out like in in all of these different roles and all of these different films and everything, and for Townsend to speak to so much, to speak to the type of roles, to speak to the type of stories that they're interested. The black acting school, that was hilarious. um the black acting school, the that in the beginning was insane. Like I
Oh my goodness. What? It is, and it, I mean, but I
yo
live, it is wild to me. Like I live in Atlanta, and just there's so many like acting classes,
yeah.
class audits and stuff, and just so kind of seeing some it's like it is kind of like that sometimes,
Oh my
where
god.
it's just like, it's like, let's teach you how to give a maternal vibe to your conversation, or how do we, but then it's like it borders the line. Now there are some amazing acting teachers and coaches and people who truly care about the art,
Right.
but then there's people that want to play.
I
That they play in your face. They play in your face, and it kind of, it's just like, why am I practicing how to be a someone who struggles with addiction? And like,
mm,
why is this the
mhm.
first thing we're practicing? Why are we doing self tapes?
Yeah, hello. That is so all right. I just need, like, I'm sitting here and I'm going, so now we have, because there's also there's there is so much truth in like what he puts. It's again, I feel like Hollywood Shuffle should be required viewing. Like,
Yeah.
just studying like media literacy, right?
Mm-hmm.
That this movie should be a part of that curriculum because
Mm-hmm.
the thing is like, so we're seeing them like act out like this like escape right from slavery,
The
right?
slavery.
So you're watching, yeah, this the slavery movie, right? And so he's got like, there's the two women, and then there's the white woman who comes along who's also in love,
Right.
right? I'm putting, for anyone listening, I'm putting this in quotes, like, you know, who's in love, right, with this white woman. And so he runs off with her and leaves the two black women behind. Then what really got me, what really like hit me, that, I mean, it was all hitting me, right? And then to put the nail in the coffin, he then acts like Step. And for those of you who don't know, Step was a black actor, like back during the, again, I'm putting this in quotes, the golden age of Hollywood. He would act out these, he would be put in these roles, or put himself in these roles where he's playing the very illiterate, very unintelligent, the lazy, like sort of black person, right? The
Mm-hmm.
stereotype that black people are are no, I don't know, we built this country, but you know, that's another conversation for another day.
Right.
Anywho, but he would play these roles, and so often, even back then, he would be criticized, right, by the black community, because the rest of us are like, this is not who we are. But he
Right.
would continuously play all these roles, and so to see him kind of giving this reference to Step and Fetch It,
Yeah.
just like that kind of like, when I say disturbing, again, not only is
Mm-hmm.
he like acting out like some of these things, and of course, like this is all in his head, right? But like, not only is it the reality of like him like trying to go for like these roles, or going for these roles, or having these roles, is also in front of his brother, but also like the reference to real life, not just in, you know, obviously the satire, but then also, again, paying that reference, giving that
Mm-hmm.
reference rather, to someone who was very much
A reality.
a reality, and playing these kinds of parts. And yeah, that hit me. What did that do for you? That because the black acting school also too, there's like, there's there's the Step and Fetch It reference, there's the slavery movie, and then right, they yell cut, and he has a full, I think he's attempting a British accent.
Because you know the conversation about black British actors and just how,
Yes.
and
Yes.
it's crazy because some people believe that like people, this is very specific, you know,
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
because there to specify, because there is a beauty in distinction, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
unfortunately there are people who are in the diaspora who are not black American, who are
Mhm.
willing to kind of take the roles of and represent black Americans, but
Mhm.
in a way that is not truly representative of its goodness. And we
Mm.
find that it's easier for them to play those roles because the morality of it can be sometimes detached.
Yeah.
I hate to do it. Don't come in,
Because
but I hate to do it.
this is a point of contention across the, when we're
Across,
listen.
I don't want to participate in the diaspora wars.
No, I know, I don't
However,
either. I don't either. But like, but if we're going to
if we're
be
gonna be
real about it,
honest, if we're gonna
if
be
we're going to be
honest,
on,
if
yes,
we're going to be honest, there is, I think, lived experience
yeah,
is very important, and unfortunately there's a different kind of lived experience
yes,
elsewhere outside of
yeah,
America, and
yes, for
it's
sure.
easy to perform than to
Hmm. That's a word.
okay.
That's a
I ain't gonna
word.
say too much, but
Yes,
I'm just
because
gonna
I
say
want to say, and I don't know if there's any Black Brits that are listening and or watching this, but I will just say that would be like, it would be like a Black American
hmm
portraying someone going through the Windrush era,
yes,
right? So having to go from like Jamaica
Jamaica,
to,
the even
you know, or
Africa.
Trinidad, right,
Yeah, yeah,
to
yeah.
right? And talk
Mm-hmm.
and playing that role, because again, it's something that
Mm-hmm.
we, unless you're someone with that lived experience, you
Yeah.
won't actually, you won't fully grasp like what
Mm-hmm.
that means to us. And then so to see you perform that, again, it's, you're very detached, you're detached from what that very real lived experience is.
Right, right. And
So,
you can pull from
right,
certain
right,
things, but
sure.
it takes integrity
Mhm.
to truly either one
Mhm.
give the role to someone who is willing to actually who has lived that role, but
Mhm.
also if you can't, if you're not in the position to, right, because we're not, as talent, you're not always permitted to make those type of executive decisions.
Yep.
Copy, then do the work to make sure that you are surrounding yourself with
Mhm.
people who can give you the feedback, who can give you the honesty, who can give you the perspective that is going to help you drive that story and honor that story, because I
Yes.
think it is about honor. And sometimes for me, and mind you, I'm Nigerian. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm sorry to say it, but I'm not, and I would feel some type of way. I personally would feel some type of way if somebody was like, if if a certain actor from somewhere else was just like, you know what, I'm about to play Fela Kuti. Eh? You're gonna play Fela Kuti, you don't know Fela Kuti? You don't know his vibe, you don't get how he moves, you know what I'm saying? And I can
Mhm.
only imagine just seeing, it's like you hear your people but you don't see your people type John.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Even though
Type
we are
John.
people, but you don't it's different
Yeah.
peoples,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it's the different parts of the
Did you hold
family.
on? Hold on. Just to, you said John, and I've only heard Philly
Oh, for
people.
Philly John. Yeah, well,
I was like, wait a minute. Hold on, hold on.
I hear my
But the,
people.
well, guys, and mind you, I'm not, I'm not from Philly, but I've heard Philly people specifically.
Say
So that's why I
John,
was like,
yeah, they say
yeah. So I
John
was like, oh,
Bull.
okay. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, no,
yeah,
I grew up in
yeah.
New
No, I love
York.
that.
My sister went to school in Philly, and I was always in Philly.
Okay, all right, all right.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
She's like,
Yes.
what? What is this
No, no, yeah. I was like,
vernacular you're
wait, 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 wait,
speaking?
wait. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Was there and so, and I appreciate you also like having that, like giving us that perspective, and also like saying it, and I think, and I don't think anyone, is going to come for us as part of like contributing to the diaspora awards, because
Yeah.
we're not about that on this
We're not.
podcast.
We're unity.
But it's also it's a very real sentiment, and I think that's
Mm.
something that is worth having a nuanced conversation about.
Mm.
And so, no, I appreciate that. Now, with this film, was there anything that, like, any more takeaways, just in terms of like either the theme or maybe technical aspect, or anything else that you really wanted to express about this film?
Honestly, I'm starting to see a thread
Hmm.
with Robert Townsend. It's just the desire to dream past your reality, and
Yes.
and the
Yes.
cost of it, and the integrity and power that comes with being honorable,
Hmm.
and the way he does it is not in a, beat you in the head type way, but that's
Hmm.
what I love is the comedy aspect of it. It's just the fact that, yeah, we can kiki and have a good har har, but
Hmm.
don't forget the message. Don't
Yeah.
forget that you do have a choice even when things feel limited,
Yeah.
and doing nothing is also a choice.
Yes. Yes, for sure. One more thing before we move on to our next film. I also have to point out the conversation in the salon that he has with his father
Oof.
was everything. Like,
Yeah.
as many, you know, not as many, more of like the lack, right? Or the trope, one of the stereotypes, right, is like the father not being an important, or not being
Yeah.
like someone
Present,
who is like,
aware. Here.
present, right? Present, or someone who has like who is really someone he can look up to, is, someone he can take advice from and follow through with.
Right.
His father telling him like to go after his dreams. That's what made me that's what I started to think of when you started to mention to dream bigger, right?
Yeah.
And everything. That's very much in theme with what his father was trying to tell him. And giving the example of, I've let so many people tell me what I couldn't do that I started to believe them.
Mm.
Whew, as an artist, that hit me so hard.
Yeah.
It hit me
Yeah.
so hard.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, as we see it in the film, and I really did appreciate, this film's ending.
Mm.
There's always a job at the post office. And the way that it's done, right, is like acting in a commercial for the post office. I
Yeah.
just loved that. That's
Yeah.
such a like
Happy
nice
medium
cap to like. Exactly. Exactly. I'm like, oh, and I'm like, and I hope he goes on to
to do
do like
more.
to do more, to do better, things, greater things rather, not necessarily
Mm-hmm.
better, just
Mm-hmm.
greater. But yes, no, I really did appreciate this film.
Mm.
Yeah, like I said, it should be required viewing,
Yes. Yes.
for especially for those studying media
And ethics.
and ethics, media and yes, please. Oh my god. Yes, maybe someone should sit down, you know, the writer and director behind One Battle After Another. That
Oh,
film is going to continue to catch strays, okay, from me. Just anyway, before I'm gonna move on before I get in trouble.
perfidia.
Not that I'm gonna. Whew. Um,
Oh, gee.
I there's girl, there's so much I can say about that, but we are going to move on to Meteor Man. So a short synopsis. So for Meteor Man, this is a film that I grew up on. I When I tell you I wore out that VHS tape, I meant that
Ah.
thing. So Meteor Man is about an unassuming teacher, Jefferson Reed, played by Robert Townsend, who lives and works in an urban area plagued by a tough gang. When a falling meteor hits Jefferson, he discovers that he has gained numerous superpowers. Encouraged by his father and mother, Jefferson sets out somewhat awkwardly to become a crime fighting hero. While he manages to improve his community, he finds out that his powers aren't limitless, making his efforts more challenging. So, Meteor Man. Oh my God. First of all, was obsessed with
Ooh.
this film. Was obsessed with this film growing up. I know it like the back, okay, of my hand. It is so ingrained. Like I didn't need to. I watched it recently, but
Yeah.
not within the past couple of weeks. It was maybe like back in December or something. Or I was like, oh, you know what? How does this film feel now as an
Uh,
adult? So like, as watching it as a kid, right? As watching it as a kid, I'm like, oh my god, a superhero and he's fighting crime, right? And I don't necessarily know if I like connect was like it's a black superhero. It was just like something different, something new, and seeing someone like just like helping out his neighborhood, right? It wasn't like him going all over the world, right? I grew up being a huge, still am to this day, a huge Superman fan. So to see Meteor Man
for us.
was like something different. It was awesome for us. Like I said, I wore that VHS
Ooh.
tape out. Okay. I was obsessed. So I wanted to get, because this is
I
you said you didn't grow
didn't
up on
grow
Meteor
up
Man, right?
on
It was
Meteor Man. And so when
mhm.
even just the ABC boys being in there and just like, and mind you, my name is Aisha, so
Mm.
I've been serenaded my whole life from people saying Aisha, and I had to learn, where did this come from? Who song is this? And why are people singing this to me? And then I get to find out who the ABC boys are. Then I see just, and then you see them in the movie, and you see how their small roles, not small but very big roles in a sense, because they are a piece of the thread
Mhm.
when it comes to the makings of a YN, right? The makings,
Mm.
how certain
Mm.
decisions can be made even at early ages. But yeah, I was
Yeah.
actually, I was very, my initial thought about the movie was, wow, because the main character didn't necessarily wasn't about saving the community. It wasn't about he wasn't necessarily someone who, if there was a problem, he felt it was his responsibility to
Yeah.
fix it. It was somebody else. Leave it, double it and give it to somebody else. It's not my thing. His dad was
Mm.
more so, I'm not afraid of it. I'm willing to whatever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he himself was not. There was trepidation in being responsible. It was trepidation in being to
Yeah.
actually want to assist. And so, you know, as
Mm-hmm.
I'm watching this, I'm just like, okay, I'm seeing it. And now, mind you, I may have not fully watched it when I'm growing up, but I would always see glimpses, and I
Mm.
will always see like small, like
Okay. Yeah.
small moments, especially with the Eddie Griffin, because we love Eddie. That's the Eddie I recognize.
Oh my goodness, he's funny. He's
Hilarious.
funny in this film.
And
Oh, he's
I
funny
feel
in
like,
so
and
many
I
films.
think
Yeah.
it gives just this like, it's there's so much. There's so much. But initially my thoughts
Yeah.
were, wow, this it comes with comedy and it comes with jokes, but it also comes with with this push for responsibility. It is not nobody's going to save us but ourselves. But
Yes.
ourselves.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
and with great power
But
comes
ourselves.
what? Great responsibility.
Great responsibility.
And this movie truly embodies that, even if the power that is
Mm-hmm.
given to you is not something that was naturally innate. Hmm.
Hmm. Yes. That is very much it because it is, and it just like I was like super geeked, like watching it
Hmm.
as an adult, seeing the parents. Like the mom is like
The
she's the one
different
stitching
costumes.
like the costume and everything.
I
I
love the
love that whole
Polaroid one. The
montage. I'm
Polaroid
just
one. You've
like,
been caught.
yes, right. My God, that was
Okay.
crazy. I'm like, listen, don't that they're giving us
I'm
Iron
saying
Man
I'm Madam
before there
Stark.
was
He's
Iron
giving
Man,
real
the original Iron Man.
the
The
original.
original, the OG. Yes, but yeah, and I really love that there is this, and in his films, like we'll see this throughout, our talk, but like supportive, having
Hmm.
supportive parents, like
Yeah.
supportive parents, and like whatever
Hmm.
you're
Hmm.
handed, right? And like that's what
That's
I
beautiful,
love
right?
seeing, right? That's what so
Hmm.
many of us know. It's something that is also not
Enough. Yeah.
pushed right in film. And so to see
Mhm.
it again, right? They are more excited than he is. And of course, obviously, because like what he's dealing with is like, I just want,
Play my bass
right, to like,
and talk to girls.
I just want to play my bass and right, talk to talk to women. Like I want to have a
Right.
girlfriend. I want to have like I would just want to be able to continue in like, you know,
Hmm.
teaching, like because he's
Oh,
a
don't
teacher and
get me
everything, and
started
just want to
with the
live a normal life.
teacher. He said, "Run
Yo,
away. You don't need to
oh
fight.
my God.
You don't need to fight.
Yes.
You don't need to fight." Oh,
Oh my
Jennifer
God.
Lewis. Oh,
You don't need to fight. I love her so much. I love her so much.
wow, that's great.
Oh my gosh, she's great. I'm like, I look at her and go, you know what? Like, I want to have when I get older, I
Yeah,
want to have the same
yeah,
energy. I want to have the same energy. Just like she does not give, she gives zero F's. She's like, she is exactly who she
and
thinks
it
she
is.
is. And we appreciate her for it. And is. But okay. So yeah, no, I love seeing that montage. I loved, and I love again, like you bringing up like the reluctancy, like in first of all, being given these powers, and also mind you, in a very
Okay.
violent way, in a very violent way. Like it's not something like again because you mentioned where comes great power comes great.
Yeah.
So Spider-Man, right? He
Right.
gets bitten by a spider, right? Okay. This man is like running down an alleyway, and is this giant meteor, and the way that it's
It's
coming
inside
into
of
his
him.
body,
They said it's not
it's
on you. It's in
crazy.
you.
it's in you for real. Like it's a part of you now.
Yeah.
It's just you. And like that's a very violent. I mean, this man is like in the
Mind you, he was
hospital.
already
There's
running
so many
away.
things going on.
He was already
Running away. And now you got this giant meteor
that you
headed
see.
straight for you. Like it has a vendetta. Like, and there's nowhere for him to go. And so it's a
That's how
very
purpose
the way in which
chases
he's
you.
receiving these powers.
Can we?
Not you get in here preaching. Oh my gosh. When purpose, listen. And let the church say amen.
And for the Muslims, I mean.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. Yes, because it is Ramadan. Okay. Ramadan Mubarak. Yes. So okay. This can't take us anywhere. Can't take us anywhere.
Good,
Goodness gracious. Okay. So
but it was violent. It was violent. It was
I don't even
violent.
know
It
how
was
to move on
violent.
from that. I don't even
It was intense. It was intense.
It was.
It was, but I
Very
think one
intense,
thing that
very
I saw
intense.
about that, even just like it was even when he was getting transported to the hospital, you see outside,
Right.
his
Yeah.
family and neighborhood still shows up. They still show up. There is still a
Yes.
concern. You're still ours. You
Yes.
know, we have to, not only do we have to worry about
Right.
gang members, we have to worry about supernatural things happening to you. Huh?
Right. Yes.
Mm-mm.
Right. And it's the fact that so many people know
Now that
too,
mama was a
right?
snitch,
About like
okay?
the
His mama, she
yeah,
had no
like
couth to her.
ma'am, like first of all, none whatsoever. But
Her
isn't that
mama's being.
how like it usually is? She's like, and
He got
my baby's
hit
got
by a
power. So if
meteor.
you need help, right, you got hit by a meteor, okay? So if y'all
Just
need help,
call my
just
baby.
call my
Got
baby.
you.
That's my baby. That's my baby. Right. I'm just like,
Yo.
ma'am, he's got powers. This could be
What?
everyone
They
after
didn't. They
him.
didn't read the superhero guidelines.
Girl,
The user
they
book, the
didn't read the.
manual. They didn't read it.
I
They
mean,
didn't read it.
so
Not even for 30 seconds.
no, they
Not
didn't read
even for
it. She
30
was like, "No,
seconds.
I'm telling everybody." No, and then she's telling him, yeah, because then she's like telling him about, oh, hey, this person needs, help with this, and like she is basically like, no, yes, no, we're going to, okay, so you have these powers, we're going to get you a suit, we're gonna,
Literally the road manager and stage manager. That's the
this is
stage
where
mom.
you. For real, for real. She's like, all right, I got this. I got this. I got this.
Yeah.
She is the
Yeah.
manual. She made the manual. She's the one that's like, we don't need to be secretive about this. No. We this is how we're gonna go about it. Love that. Okay. Also, this makes me laugh every time. We gotta talk about the Golden Lords.
The Golden Lords.
The Golden Lords. The Golden Lords, the baby lords.
They were sharp though.
What are we?
They were sharp.
Listen, they were sharp,
okay,
color coordinated. They were
make Brazil very
like,
happy
they
with
had
this blonde hair.
everything was on point. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. I'm like, I have never seen a group that was a gang that was like so just
put
again
together.
very precise,
militant,
put
even
together. Like,
Mhm.
okay, yes, that's what I'm saying. And I'm like, oh, this is very interesting. I also just thought, I was like, this look is very much a choice. It's very much a choice. It's yeah, and I don't know how I
It's
feel
a
about that choice even to this
distinction.
day, because I just remember what it's a distinction.
Yeah.
They were like, we had to be different, so we're like,
Yeah.
we're gonna be different. That's okay. Also, Don Cheadle.
Who knew he could be blonde?
Don Cheadle, isn't he? Like, I'm like, oh my god, that's right. Don Cheadle's in this movie.
I mean,
there's a bunch
the
of people
casting.
in this movie.
There's so many.
There's so many people in this movie.
Mufasa. Can we? James Earl Jones.
Mufasa, like
Cage.
James Earl Jones, right? Daddy Kane,
Luther.
like you have Luther Vandross. That's right. He also makes an appearance. Oh my god! Like this is so
Sinbad.
many. Sinbad also makes an appearance.
Sinbad was kind of hilarious in that one too.
Like all the people. Oh my god!
Even
so
Bill
funny.
Cosby
playing an entire hotel.
Caught me off guard.
Playing an entire hotep. Sinbad was. I was like, okay, yeah. Bill Cosby. Yes, he was in there. And just a disappointment, just a for real disappointment. So like there's
Yeah.
a oh, man, yeah. He really stacked that
Yeah.
cast with like
And that movie was in
all of the
theaters.
people, like
That
all of the
movie was
people,
in
like
theaters 93. That
yes.
was and it was a $20 million budget. Like that was a $20 million
Mhm.
production. And unfortunately in the box office it didn't do as well as the other movies that were
Right.
coming out. But when I looked at the other movies that were coming out,
Yeah.
these were
Mm.
bangers. These were these it was it just wasn't fair. It just wasn't fair. It just wasn't fair.
Mm.
But it was
What were the other
I
movies
think
again
one of the
that were coming out?
movies was, what did I see that was on there? Dang. I mentioned if you can't remember the names. There was a
Mm.
few. There was right. There was
Yeah,
a
no
few.
worries.
That I think the summer. It was like summer of 1993. There was a few movies that came out. I'll do a little
We're gonna do a
research to
little
make
research
sure.
here.
I saw that like one of the things that I really appreciated was that I think there was this scene where Meteor Man,
Mhm.
he finally gets his, powers and whatnot, and he's actually utilizing some of his powers. And there is this kind
Mm.
of turf war, not turf war, but there's this battle between the police and what is assumed to be the Crips and the Bloods. And
Yes.
they're like going against each other
Yeah.
in some shape and form. And I think Cypress Hill was one of the group. Cypress Hill was one of the gang leaders of those. I think one of the Crips or the Bloods or whatnot. This
Mhm.
they assumed they was wearing the blue and they was wearing the red, but we don't know
Mhm.
what the name of them were. But it was so interesting to see how, because yes, in one
Yeah.
stance we need police, but the other stance we need community leaders. Unfortunately, the community leaders are the people that are leading the community are gang members. And how do we allow the gang members to still assist with the community? And what truly makes it, and who are they fighting against? And what are they fighting for? And this idea of
Mhm.
neighborhood and this idea of, and then you got this there's gangs, there's drug dealers, there's all these other entities of like corruption and destruction and this beef. And it's just like it's not useful, but
Right.
it's not useful, but it is very active. It's very active.
Yeah. There's so much in what you said because that's some of the things that I found myself like going back and
Hmm.
forth about and like being in conflict with because well one though that I was like again there's so many different things that you just hit. So we're not only seeing like again kind of like the conflict between like the rival gangs and stuff. What we're also seeing though is like what's
The
behind the
machine.
Golden Lords, right? So it's like it's
The
a machine. Like we're seeing, but you have a boss. You have a boss
mhm.
that you answer
Mhm.
to, right? And so like I loved that we got to see that, which again is
Yeah.
its own commentary. But then also too, what I found myself conflicting with, and this is something that they bring up during the neighborhood meeting, right? Is like working with the police in order to right get the gangs out, and that's where I
Struggled. Yeah.
was really there. Yeah, there was really struggling with because I am like in this society where we're
Mhm.
constantly seeing
Yeah.
police brutality and everything there were talks even like back I remember there's a lot of conversation around this with the
Mhm.
Black Lives Matter
But even
uprisings
during that time,
um
Rodney King.
seeing a lot of conversation too with
Mhm.
well Rodney King like
Mhm.
not to say
Mhm.
that that was the only time of course but like I'm just like thinking
Right.
like recent terms but yes thinking through the conversation that folks who live in
Yeah.
these same neighborhoods wanted to still have, when we're talking about defund the police or abolish the police, there were still also people who felt that the police needed to be around because there were other threats that were
Yeah.
present in their neighborhoods, like gangs,
Yeah.
like criminals, right? That, folks didn't feel safe. And so it's kind of like this duality, this conversation, right? Like talking, having all of these conversations around police, all of this, like when I watched the film recently, it sprang
Yeah.
back up in my head again. And so again, there's so
Yeah.
much in this film, especially when it comes to social commentary, right? Like like at the surface level, it's about
Yeah.
someone reluctantly, right, accepting these abilities that he now has, limited by the way as well. I have to bring that out cuz they're there, but like it's also bringing up so many
Yeah.
social issues, especially within black communities, and I just thought that that was
It's
it's
brilliantly
it's
done.
brilliant,
Yeah.
right? To put it in this film, I
Yeah.
just the talent that is Robert
It
Townsend.
doesn't end. It doesn't end. I think
You're right, it
I
doesn't
think
end.
one thing I really truly appreciate about Robert Townsend is the fact that
Mhm.
he is constantly still dreaming. He creates these characters, these male characters
Mhm.
that are fueled by wanting to be more, but not always knowing how to go
Yes.
about it. And there is this
Mhm.
constant storyline of, yes, this is my environment, but how can I utilize my
Yes.
environment to either get me out of my environment or to better my environment? And I think that with
Mhm.
this movie, Meteor Man, I saw that there was this, once the power is finally assumed and whatnot, and it's fine, he finally understands that this is the power, and I'm gonna accept
Mhm.
this role, because you
Mhm.
still gotta accept it, because there's
Mhm.
people who did
Right.
receive power but didn't accept the responsibility.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
Abilities.
sometimes
Yep.
you can have a
I
calling,
know.
but and not answer that call. You know, and so I think with him
Right.
it's just that he answers this call and he finally decides that this is what I'm going
Mhm.
to do. And you do it for a community that you love and care for, and how
Mhm.
easy it is for that same community to turn
Mhm.
to turn
Right. Yes.
that
Yes.
caught me
Yes.
so off guard. The same person
Yeah.
that will say Hosanna, Hosanna, the same people who would just like, you're saving
Yeah.
us, is also the same people
Mhm.
who be like, give us Barabbas, give us like, you get like literally,
It be your own
it be
people.
your
It be your
own
own
people, the same
people.
people. And I understand the fear. Because
Right.
you
Right.
know, and things
Right.
got worse.
So much
There's so
nuance.
many
So
threads and
much
there's so
nuance
many
in the
things
film.
that
Oh
came
my
with it,
god.
and you're just thinking, oh, I'm just gonna laugh, or I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna come here for a little kiki. But
Nope.
you find out, no, actually, you start thinking about it.
There's layers.
You start really, you just imagining yourself, and
Yeah.
it's like, if given the opportunity, not even the opportunity, but if given the power the supernatural
Yeah.
power to be more, to do more, what would I do with it?
Right.
And how, because he had
Right.
beneficial powers that can be used selfishly. He had the ability to see through things. He
Yes.
had the ability, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
He had
Yes.
the ability to see
Yes.
things. He had the ability
Right.
of wisdom, even if it was for
Mhm.
30 seconds. Yeah.
Mhm.
But he had the
Right.
ability
Yeah.
to, yeah,
30
and
seconds. I'm
he
like,
had the
oh
ability
man.
to do
Yeah.
certain things, but how he uses it, what he uses it for, um, it's so important. And I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed, and I also enjoyed, as a chocolate sister myself, I enjoyed that every form of affection or attraction was
Mhm.
always towards a chocolate sister.
Mhm.
I was like, I see myself in this, the teacher, the
Yes.
newscaster, the nurse. I was like, yes, I see myself everywhere. This is representation.
Yeah. And we love that. We love that. We love
I
to
was just
see
like,
it. Oh,
yeah,
yes.
we are a point of
Yes.
affection. We are a point of desire,
Yes.
and I don't know what that stood out to me, but that was super. It was so good to see and feel, and just like, like to actually like see these, different points of affection and muses, and them, when people
Yeah.
say, I do it for the hoes. Eddie Griffin and Robert Townsend is the
Oh my goodness.
definition.
Yeah. Yes. They were so great in this film. The
Oh
dynamic
my
between them
god.
was
I
fantastic.
love
I
that.
love
I love their
that. I
friendship.
love that.
I love their friendship and living.
Me too. By by the way, so I did look up, so the domestic box office for the summer of 1993, they were up against, so it was released, by the way, so Meteor Man was released August 6th, 1993. So the films that were out at the same time, or like near that, were, so you have films like The Fugitive that were released earlier that summer. Jurassic Park was released. You also had, I'm trying to think, or I'm trying to look through here, around like the time of August or even like July, you also had Poetic Justice, that came out
Oof.
with Janet Jackson and Tupac. You had
Hocus
Hocus
Pocus.
Pocus that had come
That was
out.
one of my head. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. A Rookie of the Year that came out, yeah, in July of that summer. You also had Sleepless in Seattle,
Yeah.
which came out in June. So like you had The Firm that had come out in July. So like you're
Heavy
up against
hitters.
some heavy hitters, with that, and I'm trying to think of like what else is in, and there really wasn't. Oh, okay, that's kind of disappointing. So, Super Mario Brothers made more
Yeah.
than Meteor Man, which The Sandlot also came out. Actually, no, that was, sorry, that was earlier in the summer, so that
Yeah.
wouldn't have necessarily interfered with that. But still, like,
Yeah.
yeah, Meteor Man only made the
8 million.
gross.
Eight
It made
million.
eight
Yeah, I saw that.
million.
Yeah. And that's challenging. That's
Yeah.
challenging.
So yeah,
I mean, to even get
that's
that
challenging.
type
Yeah.
of budget, 20 million, it's really hard to even get.
Yeah.
And the fact that, but you know what's so
Yes.
crazy? And I will probably talk about it towards the end in terms of just like the roundabout. But I genuinely
Mm-hmm.
feel like Robert Townsend would have excelled with the
Mm-hmm.
streaming community right now.
$100. One
Dominating, and I low
hundred
key want him
percent.
to like, just pop out with
Yeah.
new stories and on Netflix, Amazon Prime.
So, Aisha, there is, again, I believe that Robert Townsend is so. I mean, like we know this man is incredible, and
Yeah.
it comes through his films, just the way that he's able to introduce like so much nuance,
Mhm.
so much of the conversations that we are having within the Black community,
Mhm.
especially when it comes to poverty and crime and like the support of the community, to
Yeah.
be in community,
Yeah.
right, with folks, how community can turn on you, right, but then but also then bringing out the understanding of that piece. And as you were saying, like, again, how he shows how, men are like dreaming bigger,
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
themselves, far
Yeah.
beyond like, what their circumstances or what have you,
Mhm.
like just being able to dream bigger. And so
Without
I
always
think,
guidance.
but not, yes, yes,
Mhm.
yes,
Mhm.
for sure. Any other takeaways before we move on to our next film?
Honestly, it's just another reminder of just like you get to be who you want to be if you know what is out there.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing this common thread with Robert Townsend. It's just this idea that just because you didn't have examples doesn't mean you can't create a new
Right.
example and be the example that you would like to see in the world. So
For
it's
sure.
a beautiful, it's a love story of community, and I
Yeah.
enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
Yes. he absolutely loves his people, and we love to see it, and we love him.
Yes.
Okay, so moving on to the 5 heartbeats. I don't know why I said it like that, but yeah.
You might as
That's
well
where
sing
so
with it.
where you might as well sing with it. Might as well sing. So to give a synopsis, so this film was released, so it's actually released before Meteor Man. It was in March 29th, 1991. It's about it's coming in on the tail end of a rhythm and blues R&B singing group explosion. The 5 heartbeats rise and fall within the space of 7 years. Along the way, the group deals with all manner of fame and fortune distractions, jealousy, greed, too much womanizing, and drugs all take a toll. Many people and I believe it was also something that was inspired by, groups like the
The
Temptations, and then there's like a
Temptations, yeah.
and there's like a bunch of other
The
groups
teenagers,
that kind
yeah.
of like, yeah, that it kind of stems from. So I'd actually only seen clips of the film, and then for
Mm,
this podcast, like, because my cousin was huge right into this film. She would
yes.
often watch it, and I feel like it was one of those, it's like, this is grown folks films, like, you can't,
Mm-mm.
like, you don't need to be watching this, right? So, like, that's how it was, and so I watched the full film recently, and I first of all was like, I wish I'd watched this, like, sooner,
Yeah.
because it's a masterpiece.
It's
Like,
beautiful. The
this film is
songs,
a masterpiece.
yeah, yeah. Which is so crazy because it played every holiday. It was
Yes.
it was one of
Yes.
those movies that you couldn't change, you couldn't turn the TV on without seeing it or a
Right.
portion of it. So to watch it from
Yes.
start to end was a treasure, but it was a roller coaster.
Oh my
Okay? A
gosh.
roller coaster. It
Roller
was so many
coaster.
so many themes, and once again, I think we talked about this in previous movies, but there is a
Right.
cost. There is always a
Mhm.
cost.
Mhm.
Elevation has a
Yes.
cost. And sometimes that cost can be the end of you if you're only seeking out fame. Fame without purpose can lead
Yes.
to destruction.
Say it again for the people.
Fame
Say it
without
again for the people.
but fame without purpose can lead to destruction.
Yes.
Can this lead to
Yes.
destruction? Yeah, especially if you don't know
Mhm.
yourself or you're not it's not even that you're not confident in it because sometimes confidence can get you in the room, but it's a matter
Yeah.
of fully being unwavering of who you are.
Mhm.
Because
Yes.
if you when you come into a
Totally.
situation like that, you come into new money, you come into access, you
Mm.
come into women, you
Mhm.
come into drugs, you come into alcohol, you come into these themes that can really, it can really rob you of truly like participating in your talent, in your gift. And it's a
Mhm.
cautionary tale. As beautiful as it is,
Mhm.
it was truly a cautionary tale.
Mhm. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, I'm wondering whether or not I should comment on the choice of words, because you kept saying into fame, come
Mhm.
into, and then you said women, and I was like, maybe not the best.
Come
Maybe not the
into
best.
pain. Yes.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Because I was like, I know what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. But then I'm like, my brain literally did like a record scratcher. Like, I'm like, wait,
Walk into fame.
walk into fame, be around a lot of women. Even though, okay, the first few minutes, like,
Of it. Yeah.
is
Oh my God.
immediately JT. I'm like, all right, well, we know what JT is all about.
We know what they like to do. Okay.
Yes. Right. Back I'm like, backstage, like, there's the, yeah.
I'm a rock star.
But that, and there it is. No, it is a truly like it very oh gosh, I don't even know where to go to first. Like because there's so much happening.
Yeah.
There's so much happening in this film, and I feel like there's a lot of like not necessarily I don't know if I should call them lulls in the film, but just you're just
Mm-hmm.
watching things play out, right? And it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of you have montages when they're oh my god. The montages of when they're on tour.
Yeah.
But when they first meet their choreographer, first of all, love this man down. Love this man down,
Get it right.
right? Like who was it that it was was it JT?
Mm-hmm.
But JT was like or no, not JT. It was the other gosh, it was the dresser. Dresser is the
Yes.
name because it was
Yes.
Harry Lennox.
Yes.
So he's showing him his dance moves, and then he's like, "Just as I thought, some bullshit." And then he starts showing him out. This man is carrying a full cane, and I'm like, "Do we?
Yeah.
I feel like we don't need the cane."
Yeah. No, but you do. But you do. You need to know that somebody can outdo
Right.
you with less than what you got. That means you're not giving your
Listen,
all. You're not giving your all. Do it again.
no. Oh my god! And I loved seeing again. We're seeing a recurring theme with community, even if that community is like you and the group and your manager and your
Yeah.
choreographer and the
Yeah.
manager's wife,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Robert Townsend's
And
character, the writer of the songs, like
the songs and just the way in which not only there's like support there, but there's also like, you're seeing like with the manager, their manager has been down this road before, right? Like, and not being successful. And so his wife being worried about that. But then you're also kind of see him play, even though like their fathers are,
Mhm.
all of their fathers are very much in their lives. You're seeing him just being another father figure,
Mhm.
right? And really just taking care of these boys, right? He's not someone who's like taking
Yeah,
advantage.
trying to
It's very
exploit
much
them. Yeah.
that's right. That's Unk.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's Unk right there. That's
Exactly.
someone else who is there. And it was so beautiful to me. Just the way in which like you know, how he saw his role and how he was absolutely taking care of them, making sure that they, were learning etiquette, that they were learning
Mhm.
how to, dance and everything, just setting them up for success, which
Mhm.
is what good managers do, right? He's
Right.
doing his
Right.
job, but then it's more than that,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
It's very familial, and I just love seeing that dynamic. And I just I just love the choreographer. He was great. It's like a smaller role, but it's really
It's
not. Like it's
impactful.
really not. It's
It's
very impactful.
impactful. It's impactful.
And then what was it was the guy who was in charge of the record label.
Moments. Yo, greed will never be good for anybody.
Listen,
greed greed will
no,
always be the demise of greatness. It's
always another theme,
it's
another
it's
theme.
it's so
Yeah,
wild because people just kind of, and it's scary too because people will see everything good in you and some people, not all people, not even a
yeah.
lot of people, but there are certain group of people that
Mhm,
will see your talent and see your greatness and only see
mhm.
how it could benefit them.
That's it. That's it.
They can only see how it could benefit them, and they are willing to do whatever to make sure that they will love bomb you. They will try to give you opportunities. They will try to
Mhm.
align you with the right people, only for them
Yeah.
to kind of like side sweep you and just really kind
Yeah.
of come at a place where it's just like, and but we need a villain. It's like
Right.
we need a villain. We need someone who's going to kind of,
Right. To show the many layers,
yeah,
right? Like
yeah, yeah.
of this business, right? And what you're going to come across in this business. And even still with all that, because like I mean, the whole scene with him hanging that one dude like over the ledge, over the balcony? Are you kidding me? Like, I'm sorry. Did we enter a gangster film?
Yeah,
Just
we
now?
did.
Like,
Yeah.
is
The
this
music,
The Irishman? What is going
the
on?
music industry is
Goodfellas?
the most gangster thing we've ever heard
Like,
about.
exactly.
Let's be
Exactly.
real.
And so I'm like, oh, it's hitting all of these, like,
Oh yeah.
okay, it's like hitting all of these points. But then even in the midst of that,
Mhm.
what I absolutely love, again, coming back to this theme of community, right? Because the man who was being hung out like
The balcony.
outside of the balcony and everything,
Mhm.
he was part of a rival group, and still,
Yeah. Yeah.
in their time of need, when they're like, we need to prove that this man was behind, because we always knew, right?
Yeah.
They always knew. He always had an inkling, like there was
Right,
something
right.
off about this dude. And they were like, no, we need to prove the connection between him and our manager's murders, because there's no way,
Mhm.
right? To have that other dude
Mhm.
come forward
I say it.
and say his piece, and then you see the cut, and I just loved this too about the
Yeah.
editing. Like, it cuts to all of these newspaper clippings, right, of him being
Mhm.
found for murder, and I'm like,
It was always
this is what I'm
there.
talking
It was
about.
always
This is
there.
always
It
there.
was
But then it's,
always
again,
there.
it's the community, even if he's a rival.
Mhm.
And of course, like, I understand also too, like, the difficulty in it, because of course he could have he's in the face of, like, retaliation
Yeah.
from someone who might have been loyal to him,
Yeah.
you know,
He could let
he's
them fend
still
for
like,
themselves. But no.
right. He's like, no, no, no. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna speak my truth. I'm gonna tell my side of the story as well,
Mhm.
so y'all can help get this man,
Because an
like,
injustice for
behind
one,
bars.
and one is injustice for all. So if I
That's it.
allow what has happened to me to only
Mhm. Yeah.
protect myself, then I
Right.
am a part of that problem.
Yes.
I keep letting
Yes.
them get away with something because we've seen other people get
Mhm.
away because out of fear. It's a
Right.
fear thing. It's a fear thing. And
Mhm.
sometimes you don't get to be fearful.
Right.
Sometimes you're not
Right.
permitted to be fearful, especially when someone is doing great harm.
Mhm.
And so it's just,
Yes.
it's such a,
Yes.
it's, yeah, you gotta stand up. I
You
mean,
gotta stand
literally.
up. Right, right, right. Can we also, and I also just want to say about the legendary Diane Carroll.
Ah,
Okay.
queen.
The manager's queen. Okay. Queen. First
Okay.
of all, again, she's like, again, we are
I said,
always going to be the voice of reason, no matter what. Black women are always going to be
"Mm,
the voice of reason.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. So, like, she's there, she's, like, having conversations. You see conversations with, with the manager and everything. Kind of like that back and forth in their relationships and everything. It's very loving. It's
Mhm.
very, but she's also like, I'm gonna tell you exactly
I'm
how
stern.
I'm seeing things, right?
Yeah.
Right?
You can't get
Exactly.
that.
But then when that sleaze bag gets in there, and at her husband's funeral, mind you, her husband's funeral,
I don't care.
she is sitting there like, she's like, no, do not play in my face right
Hmm.
now.
Hmm.
Because she knows
He knows what
exactly,
you want.
right? Do you hear me? And so I just, like, I love that throughout the films. You're also seeing this with other women. You're
Yeah,
seeing
female
this
cast.
with,
Yeah.
who was it, like, Choir Boy, and when he's getting ready to go off on tour and his dad is berating him,
Yeah.
and
Saying the worst things.
saying the worst things, and his mom comes and she's like, I want a gold record. Okay.
Give that to
I
me.
want I
Bring it
want a
home.
gold record.
Bring the
Yeah,
win
give that to
home.
me. Like, bring it home.
Bring the win
Right.
home.
Cause
Don't listen to
she's
what
like, you
he's
gotta,
saying.
right. You gotta, you've been at church all your life. It's, you need to get out there and explore and have other experiences, and I'm just
And
like,
actually apply faith.
showing again. Yes.
Apply faith. It's
Yes.
not enough to know that
'Cause,
faith exists.
right.
It's to apply it. It's to, because a lot of
Right.
people, we pray, we focus, and we meditate on what it is that we actually want. But it is rare that we get the
Hmm.
opportunity. It's not rare, but when we do get the opportunity to
Right.
actually pursue the the things of our heart, and actually, and then have support or don't have
Hmm.
support, what what what
Right.
what
Right.
what would your faith allow you to do? What would your faith allow you to pursue?
Yes.
Because you can be in
Right.
spaces and have all this desire and sing and do and have it in this small confinement of church. But let's really apply it. Let's really apply that elsewhere. And the support of a mother it will just, mother, maternal, it doesn't even matter. It don't even got to be your mama, because she was a mother to the other boys too. She cared about them being not only successful, but fulfilling their purpose, even if it led to a couple of dents.
So you're talking about having faith in everything, and seeing Choir Boy apply that. That comes full circle. That
Mhm.
comes full circle. Again, the wisdom of Black women. It
Yeah.
comes full circle, because then what Choir Boy does is, when Eddie, right, decides that he doesn't
Lucas.
want to sing anymore, and then you see that
Right.
he's strung out and everything like that, and then towards the end, right, when you see
Mhm.
him, he's like, "Oh, I want you to come to my church service. I got a surprise for you." And
Mhm.
here's Eddie, right?
Mhm.
Looking better than he has been, looking great, looking like
Rejuvenated
he's,
back to his old self.
yes,
Yeah.
right? Back to his old self, and he's singing in the choir.
Yeah.
And it's this
It's
beautiful, just
beautiful.
kind of
Yeah.
full circle moment. And then also too, so like, again, it not only speaks to, like, again, the wisdom of Black women, and just how monumental they are, right, in this, the roles that they play in this film, as much as like the Five Heartbeats are very much going after women and just being,
Mhm. Mhm.
ridiculous, being what they are, like rock stars, right?
Right. Right.
Essentially,
Right. 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 Right.
being womenizers and stuff. You're also seeing all of these Black women who instill wisdom in each of these men, right?
Mhm.
And it's a beautiful thing to see. It was also a very
Right.
amazing and very cute moment when Robert Townsend's character Duck is trying to think of lyrics, and here his sister comes,
I'm
just
telling you,
fully belting out.
piecing things together, literally, from the
Oh,
trash to the dresser, this literally taking ingredients and taking
yes.
what another man's trash is, and Rumpelstiltskin type magic, and just like, let's create something new, because you have the
Right.
pieces. Let's make it a
Yes.
pull on piece, and let's
Yes.
make it art. And but then there is this beauty that I do believe with Robert Townsend. Think think he shows us that the same way women
Mhm.
can be seen as objects or seen as a conquest is
Yeah.
also, he also shows how women can also be the map that leads you to
Mhm.
where to go. These are the
Right.
navigators. These are the compasses of of
Yes.
of your personal journey. And
Right.
it's so crazy, because it's just like his sister,
Mhm.
similar with, the previous movie we talked about with Hollywood Shuffle, there is
Yeah.
this beauty of siblings. Their
Yes.
siblings do a lot for you, especially younger siblings, because
Mhm.
they see things in a way that sometimes you don't even permit yourself to see it.
That's
They
true.
see things in a way that,
Yes.
because you were the first one to go about doing things, you might be a little bit rigid in thought. But siblings may not have
Mhm.
to go through that because you had to go through that. So they see things a little bit different, and they push you to be the best versions of yourself. They push you to kind
Yeah.
of even want to achieve certain things. And it's just like, that scene, I think that scene was probably one of my favorite scenes, because it's just like,
Yeah.
because he was completely like deflated. He was just like, I keep
Yeah.
trying, I keep doing
Like,
this.
what I'm gonna do? Right.
It's not
Yeah.
hitting. I know I'm talented, but this is not
Right.
hitting. It's not doing what I needed to do. And someone's just like,
Mhm.
no, let's look at a couple of
Yeah.
things. And then, and just when let's sing it. And I'm just like, oh yeah, yeah. That was Baby Arnaz before Baby Arnaz.
Yes. I love that. Love that.
Yeah.
Gosh,
Yeah.
so many good moments. It really is like it's a very well made film. It's a beautiful
Yeah.
film.
Beautiful.
It's
It's a classic.
yeah,
It's a
it's a
classic.
classic.
It's a classic.
And like should be another one that folks watch, should
Yeah.
be required, because
Mhm.
there's as we continue to talk about, there's so much nuance. There's
Mhm.
also, bringing up, and it's been addressed in other films as well, but when you're talking too about how oftentimes what black artists, and we're still going through it to this day,
Yeah.
but what black artists also having to face, where they come up with, in this case, they come up with a song,
Mhm.
and oh, I don't know if you're really the
The
artist to
face.
do this. Let's give it to
The white
let's
people.
give it to like a white artist, and then they come in and they start singing it. It has no soul, no spice, no
Mm.
nothing. And
Elvis
you're just
Presley.
like, you know what I'm saying? Okay? We only recognize Rosetta Tharpe, okay? Here, all right?
Okay.
Okay? We only recognize Rosetta Tharpe, the godmother of rock
Period.
and roll. This is how, just to go on a little soapbox, this is how, for the people who are listening and reviewing, okay? Rosetta Tharpe, all right, is the
History
one
Month.
that Elvis stole his sound from. Okay, let's talk about that first. Then also let's talk about how we're the originators, right? Of
Mhm.
course, rock and roll, and out of that comes punk, out of that comes ska, out of that comes hard
House.
rock, okay? House music. Like, these are all the folks want to always talk about, like, okay, yes, black folks, it was us that created jazz, it was us that created R&B,
Even
gospel,
down to techno.
hip
Shout out to the
hop,
people in
and
Detroit.
techno. Yes, but we are also the arbiters of
Mhm.
punk and ska and like all of these different, like,
Genres that are not
alternative
always
rock.
associated with.
Exactly. Like, listen, I'm speaking as a black alt. That stuff comes from us as well.
You know the vibe.
Yes. Okay, exactly. You're gonna tell me that black people don't listen to rap? Or I'm sorry, rock? We both gave that face. I clocked it
It's
immediately.
just like,
That I'm
come
like,
on now.
no, it comes from us. Right?
Yeah.
Y'all want to say that it's a white, it's like it's a white people thing. It's
No.
not. It originated with us. It's been colonized to the point where people only recognize it
Yeah.
as being, as being like a white, something that's associated with white music, or I'm sorry, music that is associated with white people.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, no, no, honey,
No.
no. But yes, it's anyway, getting back to the film. I very much. Oh, and also too, you had started to mention this too when I was starting to talk about like giving, black artists work to white artists instead, but also the cover, the
Oh
front
yeah.
cover, right, of their album, especially after they had just been stopped by the police and forced to sing their song
It's
after
so
it went
dehumanizing.
after it oh god.
It's
Gosh.
dehumanizing.
Ooh, having to do
Why
all
do
that.
we
They
have
were
to
so
go through
excited.
this?
Hello.
We go
Like
from one high
they just
to a
heard it
low.
from on the radio, right? They're realizing their song is on the radio. It's like
Mm-mm.
reaching number 1, and that same song that they had been singing, that they had been hearing on the radio, is now weaponized against them in a traffic stop. I can't. And then to go from that to then someone from your record label, and by the way, the main guy can't even bother to show up, sends a white dude to tell them that they're going to put a white family at the beach
As the
on their
on
cover.
the cover, like the Beach Boy.
There's
To sell
like
records. To sell
to
records.
sell records.
This idea that being the face, black people being the
Yeah.
face of something won't sell. And I think that's something that Robert Townsend
It's
has
in
probably even felt and experienced multiple times. It's just this
and that we're still
idea
experiencing today.
till this day, till this day,
To
still
this
ex-
day.
till this day.
Day.
Okay, it's still experiencing this idea that it is better to to hear us, to experience us, but to not
Yeah.
see us. It's like they treat us like children are meant to be seen, not heard.
Seen, not
And
heard.
and
Yep.
it's this perpetual idea that Black doesn't sell. Black
Yeah.
in its fullness doesn't sell. And it's untrue. We see that timeless and we see that time after time after time after time that it does sell. It does sell, but it does require the support of the community of the people to really show up. And it's just
Yeah.
like, and it's so hard because we are not a monolith. Not
No.
everything that we don't enjoy all the same things. But
Mm-hmm.
when good is good, good is good.
Good is good. And in the same vein, like that, they say that Black won't sell, they'll still use our art to exploit, or they'll use something that we're providing to exploit. Because it's not just an art, it's in every single industry.
Every
These
single
Western countries that want to continue to exploit Africa and then tell us that that all of Africa is poor, but y'all continue to take the resources
take,
away.
rob, steal,
Take,
kill.
rob, steal. By the way, free Congo, free Sudan, free Tigray. Like,
I mean,
hello.
yeah, yeah, and it's
I could go on, but
that's
we,
why
but you know
we
what?
can't afford to. That's why we can't actually afford. That's why we have to be twice as good to get half. It's just
To get
this.
half as much.
And that's why we can't even fall into our devices, even though devices are a natural thing that comes with you trying to reach fame and in order, it's always
Yeah.
going to be there. But when it comes to us, it literally destroys us. It
Mm-hmm.
destroys us. It destroys our
Yeah.
bond with ourselves, with our teammates, our
Uh-huh.
romantic partners. It affects our
Uh-huh.
family. It can
Uh-huh.
kill your confidence to the point where you feel like you
Yes.
need a drink to perform. You need to do drugs to perform.
Yes.
And it's just like, because if I'm not at my top, this is the only thing I know
Mm-hmm.
to get me to my top position, my top role. And it's not always the
Yeah.
case. And it's just, that's why we see this like this new, not even new, but we see this push, a new push for like artists to, that's why low key, this is random, but that's why I appreciate people like Ari Lennox, who's
Mm.
amazingly talented, but saw herself at a point where if I keep drinking, I'm going to be I'm going to lose myself in this, because
Mm.
you're not always going to get the recognition that you deserve. And if I keep on drinking, I'm not going to be able to fully participate the way I know I should be and can be. And you
Yeah.
see this thread of people like deciding to go sober and do certain
Mm-hmm.
things just so they could be present in their
Yeah.
elevation. So,
Whew.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, again, like Robert Townsend, the talent that you are. With again bringing so much commentary, so many messages, you know, like to take away from the films, and then to bring forward again these incredible jam-packed,
Yes.
just beautiful,
Ah,
just beautiful.
the casting, once again, amazing.
Casting, amazing. Okay, so speaking of, because we were talking about Black women, we move on to Babs. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's get into it. So BAPS is about it was released in 1997, and it's a buddy comedy film, of course, starring. Let's see. Sorry. Of course, directed by Robert Townsend, because obviously that's why we're here again, once again. But it's starring Holly Berry and Natalie Desselle and Martin Landau. B.A.P.S stands for Black American Princesses. So essentially, what it is that they're doing is they're trying to come up with money for a combination soul food dining restaurant and a hair salon. They're original, just being original.
Loved it. I I I I won't hold you. B.A.P.S does it for me because one, I've seen so many women who are what we would consider to be ghetto, this, that, and the other. But when you really get to know them, loyal, sweet, kind, nurturing, beautiful, people who have purpose and drive and passion for life, a desire to want more. And they are flamboyant with their expression because their desire for more is it tends to it's slower. So they have to fully express it in this very real way. And it can be hard to digest because it's especially when we come from a place of respectability politics, and that there is this idea that you're only worthy if you're classy. You're only worthy if you present in a way that's close to white proximity. But if you don't, then are you meant to be dismissed? Are you meant to be devalued? And so I know in its extremest form, but seeing the sisterhood in the friendship between the two is such a beautiful thing because there was never at one any point that they were jealous of each other. There was never at any point that they were kind of like, I'm only friends with you because I know that you're gonna go to the top. I'm friends with you because I see your vision and I want that vision for you. I don't do hair, but I'll help you do everything else. I don't do this. It yes, hyperbolized, however, because it wouldn't be a Robert Townsend if it wasn't somewhat of a hyperbolized scenario for sure. But these were also real realities. Like these are people who, now granted, the extreme was an extreme, but these are I've, I've seen people who were, who got treated differently because they got gold caps in their teeth, because their nails were long. I live in Atlanta. If you're, where we see it as beautiful, we see it as, I love a good hoochie mama aesthetic. Don't get this confused, okay? Don't get this confused. I love me a hoochie mama aesthetic. Live for it. What? You telling me I got my long red nails? You telling me I used to want to have those little French roll in the back? I, it was something that was just like, oh my God. I live for it now. Did they once again hyperbolize it? Yes. But I want to, I'm ready for your initial.
With this film, I was struggling a little bit, because I kept thinking about Hollywood Shuffle and how that was, about the stereotypes that Black actors often find themselves in, when auditioning, and trying to find work in Hollywood. And then I was looking at these two characters, and I kept thinking, and especially after the film, after I had some time to sit with it, I had to ask myself, are these women being stereotyped? Are these actresses playing stereotypes, or is this uniquely how they are? Because then what really helped also too was like going back and thinking through like the other Black women that we saw on screen. And, we had the flight attendant, we had the lawyer, right? And, they are their own people. There's other Black women that we see in the film, right, that are not acting like this. So I'm like, are they really stereotypes, or are they uniquely them? And then, of course, after I had waited and seen the entire film, you know, once you get to know really who they are really like sweet, loving people. They are kind. They are very thoughtful. This is just the way that they are, and they are living their lives and, trying to do right by this man who is dying, trying to give him and everyone around him, the time of their life, granted the son not so much. Um, but when you really break it down, these are just women with unique personalities who are really about one another. So yeah, I really had to kind of sit with that and kind of look at my own biases. Um, but also too, like again, wanting to make sure that, black women, right, aren't being put into another trope again, like we've seen so many times.
I would like to just come to the point that you were making before, the point of self-reflection when it comes to the representation. I would even like to add that, like, because what they expressed and represented is the very thing that Black women in this world are constantly trying to fight against, being represented. Right? We are fighting even in our most relaxed, calm state. We are still seen as these women, right? These audacious, loud, Black, rude, da, da, da. And we're seen as these women, and we can't even have, like, even the flight attendant or the attorney, we don't get to see the gambit and the fullness of what Black women can be, because we are always presumed to be these loud characters. But that's why I appreciated about it, is because even these loud characters have value. Even these loud characters have depth and have nuance. And the same way they express loudly is also the same way, regardless of how you present, you should still be treated with dignity, with respect, with this idea that you can still have dreams and visions for yourself. It doesn't showcase how every Black woman is, but it does showcase that regardless of what kind of Black woman you are, you deserve dignity, you deserve respect, and you deserve for someone to not play in your face.
I appreciated all that what you said because again, I'm constantly, especially when it comes to representation, I'm constantly
Yeah.
doing self-reflections. And also just again, being a student of media literacy, I'm like, okay, well, what is this saying about us as a whole? But then of course you have to watch the entire film in
Mhm.
order to get the full picture,
Yeah.
right? And again, it's also like speaking to again, the number that responsibility politics has done
Mm.
has done on so many of us. I also want to go back to I want to say something too, or bring out something else too that you said, especially when it comes to folks like the flight attendant, when it comes
Yeah.
to
That's
the
her.
lawyer.
Yeah.
This is them in their professional setting. We never get them outside of the professional setting.
Right. Right.
So
We
it's
don't
it's
we
it's
don't know how
we
real
don't know
things
how
can
they're
get.
really acting. Right, exactly. Like they
But they all
wait till it
understood them.
they all understood them.
They all understood them. Like, the
Yeah.
flight attendant, which is so funny because the flight attendant, yeah, she's like, she has a job to
Right.
do,
Yeah.
and she could have been a sellout and, like, embarrass these women and make
Right.
these women feel some type of way. But
Yes.
instead, she affirms them. Beautiful,
Mhm.
very beautiful, a little
Yeah.
distracting. Let's let's balance this out. Let's balance this out. And even with the attorney, we get this it's still a camaraderie of, you know, we're gonna make sure that nobody says that y'all did this. There's a protection over them.
Yeah. I loved
There's a
seeing that.
protection over them. And yes,
Yeah.
I know who you are. I know how people will perceive you, but I'm going
Mhm.
to do my due diligence through my own personal representation to make sure
Yes.
that they don't allow their perception of you to be the reality.
Right.
There's a
Yep. That's it.
protection. There's a covering. And
Yes.
I think that's how we use our responsibility, is that
Mhm.
I'm not going to use I'm not going to allow my class or where I am in society to now continue to berate you like society is willing to
Right.
berate you. I'm going to use my
Exactly.
platform to kind of also uplift you. That's why we have these, this weird discussion over when Kamala invited Megan Thee Stallion. We are bridging a gap when it comes to these things. We're bridging a gap. And unfortunately, we only assume that you could only be seen as respected or respectful if you are only in this lens. But the reality is you deserve respect regardless because you exist. Is decency. Is
Yeah.
decency. And so, yes, it challenges it because we are told to, not respect people who don't respect themselves. But the reality is you don't know if they don't respect themselves. You don't respect them because
Yeah.
they don't look like you. They don't move like you. They don't present like
Mhm.
you. And so it's
Yeah.
a challenge through vision. Is a challenge. It forces you, because why is it so easy for rich white men to accept these two beautiful women and
Hmm.
accept them as a form of love and affection, but it's very hard for other people to accept them and look like them?
Well,
There we
that'll wrap up. No. I really do appreciate that. Is so very well said. I don't have anything else to add to that, Aisha. I really don't. I really like you said everything. I've heard everything that I needed to hear. Yeah, no, but that is a very I love that you broke it down in that way because like
Mm.
going back, I was like looking through um like I don't necessarily know if it was reviews, but I just think it was just like overall reception
Commentary.
of
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Right. So there was a lot of people, right, who hated the film. I
Hmm.
wouldn't say like I don't hate the film. I really don't. Like
Yeah,
again, it's just a lot of there was a lot of things I kind of had to like really sit with this
yeah.
one,
It's
how
just
I was
things with
feeling and
Hollywood
stuff.
Shuffle. It's just this like bad
Yeah.
taste. It's like why would you do this?
And
Why
that's
would you represent us this
yeah.
way? For sure. For
That's
sure.
it because I'm literally coming off the tail end of watching Hollywood Shuffle,
Mhm,
and I'm looking at this critique of like how we're portrayed on screen, and then it
mhm.
gets to B.A.P.S, and I'm like,
We're
we were
we're
just
being
here,
portrayed as this.
we were just here, but then you continue watching,
Yeah.
and it's like, okay, so that's the outward, but we need to look inward. We need to look inward. We need to look
Mhm.
inward.
Mhm.
And so I thought that was a very like I thought again, there's always commentary. With a Robert Townsend film, there's always commentary.
Yeah.
There's always a deeper theme, there's always a deeper message.
Yeah.
So no, so that's amazing. Um yeah, and I was also seeing a lot of there was saying it was like it's very the film is very like camp. It's very, they were saying like something I was reading something about, how black excuse me, black
Yes.
queer men
Yeah.
are, really love that film. And it was like, okay, like I don't want to speak for black queer men. If
Yeah.
black
Yeah.
queer men listen,
Yeah.
please do not come for me. Do not come for me. This is just something I read on the internet. So you take it with a grain of salt. That's I
Right.
just
Right.
cannot speak for
Right.
y'all.
Right.
And I
Right.
would never dare. But yeah, no, so I really enjoyed I enjoyed there were definitely aspects of this film that I really liked, especially of course because of their integrity, because of
Yeah.
who they are. They were
Mhm.
essentially like
Yeah.
awarded, right, for like all the integrity that they're showing. They have no relation to
Mhm.
this man, right, that they're trying to make believe that they're
Mhm.
related to. And
Mhm.
yet it was still it's not only the like not only the protection like you mentioned before that they got throughout this film, which was beautiful to see, but then also to for them to then have this dream that they have
Yeah.
realized in the end because of
Yeah.
who they are. And
Yeah,
I think
and
that's a
not at the
beautiful
deficit of who they
I
are,
think that's a beautiful
and
thing.
not at the point where
Yeah.
this is what you deserve. And the reality is that no,
Right.
you get more than what you deserve when you are integral, when you remain true to who you are. And I think that's the bliss of the
Yes.
storyline, is that you get blessed when you utilize all that you got. And they came in with nothing and they were willing to leave with nothing, but they weren't going to lose themselves
Yeah.
in the midst of that. And I think
Absolutely.
that's the beauty of it. It's just that you don't have to compromise. And crazy enough, when you're fighting to be significant, you may outwardly
Mm-hmm.
express louder than needed, right? Because as time goes on,
Yeah.
they don't they it's not they become a more refined version of themselves. You know, but
Mm.
what do people say? It's
Mm-hmm.
not that you're ugly, it's that you're broke. It's just like there is
Yes. Yes.
but it's
I've
just
seen
like,
that.
in order for
Yeah.
them to even get that, they did what they can with what they had to create this desire of
Mm.
richness and wealth. And that was what wealth
Yes.
looked like to them. That was what wealth truly, that they embodied wealth before they had it. And that was their viewpoint until they actually got to a space where true wealth is received, and they were able to still take in a
Mm-hmm.
portion of their style, but refine and
Mm-hmm.
allow it to breathe. Sometimes it takes that
Mm.
opportunity to refine. You don't get wine
Yeah.
without bunching a couple of grapes. You're gonna have to bust a couple of grapes. You're gonna have
Right.
to go through this
Yeah.
chrysalis moment where you're becoming that butterfly.
Mm.
And
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna require and it's gonna get
Yeah.
icky. You're gonna feel weird. You're gonna feel out of place. But if you know who you are, being
Yeah.
out of place is just what you were destined to be. You were destined to be an outlier. You were destined
Mm.
to be an outlier. You
Mm-hmm.
don't go the same path. That's
Yeah.
why every guy that you was with, the guys
Right.
that you came up with, they had to realize, if you're going to
Mm-hmm.
be with me, you're going to have to step up. You're going to have to be
Mm.
more. You have to do more. And that's okay. And it's
Yeah.
okay. So
Yeah.
I mean, it is, it's so funny because it's just like, I told, like, in the beginning, I come from a pretty strict, background where we weren't allowed to do certain things or certain things, whatever. But the beauty of specifically Black American women, Black American women
Mm.
have shown me the power and prowess that I possess. And I get to live in that
Mm-hmm.
because of them. I get to live
Yeah.
in this pocket of true beauty. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, my name is Aisha, but like, and
Mm-hmm.
I would navigate this world. Even like I said, like, I was serenaded by people calling, by saying my name in power because of other Aishas that existed before, And so I'm grateful.
Mm.
I'm grateful for, it's not a representation that I felt shame in. It was a representation that I felt
Mm.
liberated in, because I get to be
Mm.
audacious. I get to be flamboyant. I get to be loud. I get to be seen. And you're not going to not see
Mm.
me. You're going to see me. And
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah.
audacity of Halle Berry, it's like, even though she's not the best dancer in the world,
God. Oh my
we
goodness.
deserve more audacity. We deserve it.
We deserve more
Yeah.
audacity. Well, with that, before, this has been an amazing
Yeah.
conversation, but before, yes, just with all of these movies, and specifically, with BAPS, just a that was a beautiful like
Mm,
deep dive, right, really into again, the not only just like talking about the
mm,
representation, but then also to just like talking about the deeper themes, and and the way in which Black women having to navigate this world and everything, and how we're portrayed versus like who we really are, and then just being worthy, right, of being who we are and just being allowed
yeah.
to exist. I think
Yeah.
if Robert Townsend were a regular listener on the podcast, number one, I would
God.
die. Number two, though, but like, what would you like to say to him directly?
First and foremost, thank you. Thank you for being audacious. Thank you for allowing, pushing forth opportunities for people to even get in the mind of a Black visionary. And I would also say, we need you on streaming platforms. We need you and your
We need you
daughter.
behind more
We
films,
need
dude.
you and your daughter
Yes.
making
Yes.
movies.
Yes.
I want a rom-com.
Please.
I want a
Please.
rom-com.
Oh my
I
gosh.
want us to really delve into love, Black love, and what does that look like even in a comedic way without feeling foolish. You know, I
Yes.
would love to see your process in creating timeless pieces, but also I want to hear about the challenges. I would love to hear about the challenges that you face, finding funding, finding support, and also I just want you to know that the work that you've done is not in vain. We value you and we see you and we want to see more of you. So that's what I'll definitely want to say. You know, call me if you need a ride.
Yes.
Or
Right,
not.
exactly. Exactly. You know. Right. Please,
You need a chocolate
please mentor me.
muse.
Would be fantastic. Listen. No, I love that. Yes. Yeah, he really has, like, Robert Townsend, you've just been just again, you have given us so much, like, within the films, you know, the kind of representation that we want to see, the kind of themes in films that, you know, we're constantly talking about, like, in the real world, but then you put together just, like, so beautifully, and everything is, like, well thought out and intentional. I just love the way in which you weave together all of these pieces, and especially with these incredible casts who may or may not have gotten the opportunities to play these kinds of roles if it had not been for you. So that is why we are giving Robert Townsend your flowers. So, Aisha, where can folks follow you and how can they support you?
Awesome. Okay, well, thank you. Thank you, Jackie.
Of
You
course,
can
of
follow
course, of course.
me as She Knew Nothing on Instagram. I am a braider, so if you ever need some braids in Atlanta, go ahead and follow that. I have all my other links on my Instagram. She Knew Nothing. SHEKNEWNOTHING. Oh, and my podcast. I also
Okay,
have
and then
skincare
for
podcast.
yes,
I need you to be guest. So thank you.
yes,
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 yes.
yes, yes. We will. I will be putting that. So for viewers and or listeners, we'll be putting her information in the show notes, so you can go ahead and follow her on all the things, and also listen to her podcast. Yes, we'll be providing that information in the show notes as well. Well, thank you
Thank
so much, Aisha,
you.
for
Thank
joining us
you.
on the
Woo, we got it
podcast.
done.
Yes, you will have to. Yes, we'll have to have you come back and, you know, to talk about, you know, any other
Oh,
films
we
that you'd
need to
like to
do a
talk
year
about.
anniversary of
Yes.
Sinners and a breakdown.
Listen, we did. Okay, by the way, for anyone who doesn't know, we have two, not one, two podcast episodes dedicated to sinners. We have the Sinners Part 1, which is our more academic approach, and then we have our Black AF episode of Sinners. So we'll have to come for the 1 year anniversary. Aisha, you
Please.
will be on that podcast. Yes, indeed. Thank you again for joining us today. Again, if you are watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the little bell to get notified about new episodes. If you are listening, hit that subscribe button, give us a 5-star rating, and share this episode. And make sure to also leave a comment to let us know what you thought of today's episode. We are on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Threads. You can also visit our website at ourvoicesproject.com and sign up for our newsletter for more information about what we do. We will be back in March with more episodes every Thursday, not only giving Black filmmakers their their flowers, but then to also talk about newly released movies as well as old that center Black, Brown, Indigenous folks, general movie news, and interviews with film festival programmers and curators, film critics, and filmmakers. So make sure that y'all, again, are following us to continue giving Black filmmakers their flowers. And of course, we will reveal each of those filmmakers as we go, but you can't hear about it unless you're subscribed. So make sure you'll subscribe. This has been Jack and McGriff, your host. As always, thank you so much for listening.